Hi, welcome to this episode of The Daily. My name is Brendan Malone. Well, a couple of weeks ago, I watched the newly released on Blu-ray film 13 Hours, directed by Michael Bay, which is the movie adaptation of the book 13 Hours, The Secret Soldiers of Benghazi, and that tells the true story of the embassy attack at Benghazi, the people who lost their lives there, and the brave and heroic men who came to the rescue of those who were under attack. Now, I think it's fair to say that this is probably Michael Bay's best film ever. I think it is. I think probably before this it might have been The Rock. But a lot of other Michael Bay films, we know what Michael Bay is like. They are often bloated. They are often full of cheese. They are often full of overly emotive sort of patriotic hyperbole, the slow motion flag shots and all that sort of stuff. There is very little to almost none of this stuff in this particular film. It is faithful to the story. It's not over bloated. If you've read the book, and I've read the book, and so I know how faithfully he stuck to the story, and he's also told the story in a very serious way. This is a very serious war event. Now remember, he's tried to tell a very serious war story before and hasn't really got it right. He tried to do that with Pearl Harbor, and Pearl Harbor was over bloated and it was a mess. It was just full of cheese and other things that just didn't work. But this movie is not like that. It's actually a really good account of what happened and the heroic bravery of those who were involved. It's also manages to walk that line. It puts the facts on the table, but it doesn't try and make any overt political statements. It just tells you what the facts are. It very briefly mentions key details about the fact that this was not anything to do with a YouTube video about Islam, as Hillary and others tried to claim it was. It simply had nothing to do with it. And they also make mention of the fact that there was a lack of security and that should have definitely been attended to before the ambassador arrived. But it doesn't turn this into a political point-scoring exercise. It simply tells the story, and it does it really, really well. Like I said, this is probably Michael Bay's best film. He makes what is a really good and engaging film about true events, and he treats those events seriously and with due care and respect. But at the same time, there are lots of little classic Michael Bay cinematic signatures that are part of this film as well. Some of his colour grading in certain scenes. There's one particular scene involving a mortar round. Now, he tried something similar in Pearl Harbor, but it didn't really work and have as much impact. But in this one, the camera follows a mortar round in a very a particularly unique kind of way, and that shot has huge importance because that mortar round is quite pivotal to the true story and the true events that happened. And so you've got this really great blend of narrative storytelling and visual cinematic storytelling that come together to make a very, very compelling film. Some strong character development. The one weakness I'd say about this movie, and it's minor, but the one weakness is that a couple of people lose their lives in this film. And it would have been nice, I think, if their character development had been a bit more front and centre. And so that when those moments arrive, they just would have, I think, had a bit more of an emotional impact and would have really highlighted the tragedy. Because what it means is if you haven't read the book, which gives you a lot more of the backstory about these real people, their true life story and history, and therefore it really amplifies this tragedy. If you haven't read the book, and to be fair, the film doesn't have time to give you everything, it's still impacting, and it's still powerful, but there's just an extra layer there. And so it's a minor thing, but that's the one criticism I'd have of this film. Otherwise, this is a really, really good film. Like I said, I think this is the best one that Michael Bay has made to date. So get along to your local DVD store, rent the movie 13 Hours. It is well worth the watch. Thanks for watching. I'll see you tomorrow on The Daily.